1938 saw many different comic books published in the United States that were one-shots and did not have a regular scheduled publication date, so we've grouped them together here in this video to showcase some of these unique books. Uncle Joe's Funnies, number 1, 1938, published by Centaur Publications. This was a standard 10-cent, 68-page comic book with cover art by Bill Everett. Joe Hardy was the editor of Centaur Publications, and he used the nickname Uncle Joe. This unique one-shot consisted of games and puzzles and was named after him. Terry Gilkison contributed artwork to many of the games and puzzles in this issue. Cocomalt Big Book of Comics, number 1, 1938, published by Chesler Comics. This was a promotional comic, which is considered very scarce. The Gerber's Photojournal gives it a rating of 8. It was an eclectic mix of everything from radio comedian Joe Penner, sharing the cover with 6 dwarfs, and inside we get everything from Little Nemo by Winsor McCay to the science fiction hero Dan Hastings, drawn by Fred Gardenier. Jack Cole art is also featured, as well as cover art by Charles Biro of Joe Penner. A glance at the back cover tells you the age of the comic. It shows Frank Leahy before he became coach at Notre Dame and Hall of Famer Alex Wojciech before he even started playing pro football. The on-sale date of this book was about April 1938. The editor was Harry A. Chesler. Little Nemo appears in a one-page story written and drawn by Bob McKay under the alias Winsor McCay Jr. Insurance Ike is a one-page strip written and drawn by Jack Cole. It's a humor strip featuring the first appearance of Insurance Ike and would later be reprinted in Dynamic Comics number 12 in 1944. Officer Skelly is a one-page strip written and drawn by Jack Cole, featuring the first appearance of Officer Skelly with Joe Penner as a guest star. King Cole's Court is 2 pages, written by George Nagel with art by Jack Cole. The Dan Hastings strip is 4 pages, titled Rad Omeron, the Martian Bandit. And it was written by Ken Fitch with art by Fred Gardenier in this early science fiction comic strip. The Wild Cat is a 6-page text story written by Ken Fitch with art by Fred Gardenier. And Paul Gustafson wrote and drew the one-page strip called Spots. Ferdinand the Bull from Walt Disney, 1938, published by Dell Comics. The first edition and printing is approximately 9 1/4 by 7 1/4 inches. It was a 10-cent one-shot comic book and an early Disney spin-off into the comic world. Nickel Comics, number 1, 1938, published by Dell Comics. This is a pocket-sized Dell Comics one-shot measuring 7.5 by only 5.5 inches, 64 pages with a soft cardboard cover. The book contains black and white comics such as Bobby and Chip by Otto Mesmer, creator of Felix the Cat, as well as Bob the Bugler, Wyoming Willie, Misadventurer, and others. Plus, there's puzzles and stories. A small 5-cent nickel cover price. Most of the strips in this comics issue are from the British version of the Mickey Mouse Weekly comic, which were renamed, except for Bobby Dazzler, which is an Otto Mesmer strip, and Skit and Scat, which was written and drawn by Basil Reynolds. The Sign of the Tomahawk is the title of a 5-page Tim McCoy text story. John Hicks Scrapbook, number 1, Strange as It Seems, likely published in 1938 by Eastern Color Comics. The format resembles Single Series, which was a new series from United Features Comics. 68 pages, and this is a single theme around Strange as It Seems, which appeared as a syndicated cartoon feature in 1928, becoming a familiar brand to millions around the globe for its comic strips, books, radio shows, and film shorts, created by John Hicks. The next year, a second volume of the John Hicks Scrapbook was released. VICKS Comics, 1938, published by Eastern Color. 16 pages, no number promotional comic featured Buck Rogers and other strips. There is also a 68-page promotional version of VICKS Comics, also likely released in 1938 by Eastern Color. And there is a possible date of June 4th, 1938 as the release date, featuring Buck Rogers, Joe Palooka, and Napoleon as the main popular strips. The Adventures of Eva, Porra, and Ted was a no-numbered promo comic from July 1938, published by Evaporated Milk Association, a 16-page black and white comic with oddball dimension sizes of 4 7/8 tall by 14 and 11/16 inches wide. This is a 1938 printing of a comic originally given away as a promotional copy in 1932. Eva, Poor and Ted is the title of the featured strip, which ran for 12 pages, and every story ends on how evaporated milk is the answer to everything. Half the stories have footnotes referring to recipes printed on the back cover which use evaporated milk. Single series number 1, 1938, published by United Features Syndicate, featuring the Captain and the Kids as the single theme character of this issue, and this would become the first of 28 issues released over the next 4 years in this ongoing title. Single series was only the second American comic book series ever published monthly that focused on a single theme character or title for each different issue. This was the first single theme title from United Features Comics. The Katzenjammer Kids is an American comic strip created by the German immigrant Rudolf Dirks and drawn by Harold Knerr for 37 years. It debuted December 12, 1897. After a series of legal battles in the 1910s, Dirks left the Hearst organization and began a new strip, first titled Hans and Fritz, and then The Captain and the Kids. It featured the same characters seen in The Katzenjammer Kids, which was continued by Harold Knerr. Donald Duck, 1938, published by Whitman Comics with a no number. This was a special one-shot Disney release featuring the first Donald Duck and Walt Disney comic book, and was released in the same format as feature books. A 10-cent cover price and 84 pages. The editor at the time was Oscar Lebec at Whitman. The comic was printed with a color cover but black and white interior with dimensions of 9 by 12 inches. Donald Duck is featured on the cover, and there are many short Donald Duck stories within. Goofy and Pluto appear in some stories as well as Huey, Dewey, and Louie. All the stories are written by Ted Osborne, and all the art is by Al Taliaferro. And even one particular strip features the first appearances of Huey, Dewey, and Louie, reprinted from a Donald Duck Sunday strip dated October 17th, 1937. Mammoth Comics number 1, 1938, published by Whitman Comics. This was a one-shot comic in a large format of 8.5 by 11.5 inches, containing many strips such as Alley Oop, Little Orphan Annie, Wash Tubs, Moon Mullins, Smilin' Jack, Tailspin Tommy, Dan Dunn, Smokey Stover, and others. There's a promotional ad for Super Comics. Dick Tracy appears in a 4-page strip written and drawn by Chester Gould. Terry and the Pirates is featured in 4 pages written and drawn by Milton Caniff. And Don Winslow appears in 4 pages written by Lieutenant Frank V. Martinek with art by Leon Baroth. And this issue features a promotional ad for Big Little Books. Smilin' Jack was a shoe store promotional giveaway in 1938, published by Western Comics. A promotional free comic 16 pages long, newsprint format. This one-shot featured a story reprinted and copyright 1936, but it's believed this came out in 1938. The back cover includes drawings of Dick Tracy, Terry and the Pirates, Smilin' Jack, Little Orphan Annie, and a shoe store name such as Weatherbird, Triangle, Kinney, or Pole Parrot. Different variations are known. The short 16-page comic featured a 14-page Smilin' Jack comic strip written and drawn by Zach Mosley, and is possibly reprinted from Super Comics from Whitman, dated 1936. The story starts on the inside front cover and ends on the inside back cover, and the strips are modified to fit this comic book format. Terry and the Pirates. Promotional giveaway for Pole Parrot shoes. Likely dated 1938, published by KK Publications. There is a filed copy of this book existing. Terry and the Pirates was an action-adventure comic strip created by cartoonist Milton Caniff. The daily strip began October 22nd, 1934. International Shoe Company made Red Goose shoes, and in 1922 the company added Pole Parrot, named for Paul Parrot, who had a parrot in his shoe store. The Hannibal, Missouri plant that started in 1898 with 1 million pairs a year by 1908 made Pole Parrot and Star shoes.